So in the last session, we just understood what is an interface and we tried to create an interface and we started implementing that interface by using a class. So these are the details we just saw in the last class. So simply, what is an interface? How to create an interface? What is the syntax for an interface? That is what we understood in the last session. So an interface is always defines a set of rules and regulations for a class implementation. So nothing but by using interface, we will define what methods has to be implemented by a class. So that means whenever a class is implementing an interface, then that class must and should provide implementation for the methods which are defined inside the interface. So in interface, what kind of methods by default generally we are defining is which don't have a logic. So generally that will be called as, I will use one word today and I'll explain also what is that we will try to see. So whenever we created an interface, for example, this is the interface we created, right? So it is similar to class only. So however we will create the classes, like same way in place of class we will use the interface keyword and we will create a separate Java files also for this. So in this case, whenever I defined a method here, whenever I defined a method here inside the interface, if you observe here, so this is an expectation by a class. So that means we are telling to the classes, this method should be implemented with the logic. This method should be implemented with logic. If any class is implementing this interface, then this method should be implemented. Not only this method, like the number of methods mandatorily every class should implement whatever we defined inside the interface. And that whenever the class is implementing this interface, it should provide implementation with same method signature, same method signature, same method signature, including return type. Everything should be same. So they should not change the order, they should not change it. So as it is, it has to follow, but only thing is that class should provide some logic like this. So it should have body, that's all. It should have some logic means it should have always body. So these methods will be called as concrete methods. I mean, it's just concrete methods means which are having the logic. Concrete methods. Methods with logic. Methods with logic. But whenever methods don't have the logic, in Java we have a concept called as abstract methods. So I will introduce this terminology also. What is abstract method? Yeah, abstract methods. So nothing but methods with without logic, methods without logic. So that means methods with only signatures. Methods with only signature. So I said what is the meaning of signature also. So this is all real-time terminology. So here signature means this first line will be called as always as a signature, guys. So this is signature means the what is the method name, what is the return type, what is the number of parameters, data type of the parameter. This first line will be called as signature always. So when we can call a method as an abstract method in I mean by default. So here we will take some few points today. So what I said right now is by default, a method in an interface and in an interface is always abstract method. Abstract method. So what is abstract method? I'll explain. Okay, by default, a method in an interface is always abstract method. So what is an abstract method? Let's try to understand. So same thing will come in the class also, guys. So we have a concept called as, so generally abstract is a keyword. So then I'll introduce what is abstract keyword in just after interfaces, we will see very clearly what is abstract keyword. So by using abstract keyword, we will write abstract classes also. So that means by using abstract keyword, we along with abstract methods, we can generate, we will write abstract classes also. So when I started interfaces, then I said one point. We can achieve abstraction in two ways by using interfaces. Second one is abstract classes. So when we can call a class as abstract class means that's what, when we define a class with abstract keyword, then we will call it as abstract classes. So at what scenarios, how to define and all, we will see that very clearly. But in an interface, what you have to understand here it is, by default a method in an interface is always by default called as abstract method. So what is an abstract method? Here it is. Simply I will tell you, then I will introduce very clearly in the abstract classes point of view also. We will see one more time. So when we define a method, when we define a method signature but not logic, but not logic, so that means those methods are not concrete methods. What is the point of concrete methods? Means there is no logic. Concrete methods means methods with no body. No body means no logic, whatever it is. Just our terminology point of view, I'm telling you all these things. So simply, when you will call a method as abstract method is in an interface, when we define a method signature but not logic. Yes. If you observe here, we defined only method signature, but there is no logic. So there is no logic. We ended with semicolon. So it is mandatory. We ended with semicolon means we are saying like, I am not providing implementation, just this is a guideline for the class, whoever is implementing this interface, like this. So class implementing interface. Then immediately what it is, it taken same signature and it provided the implementation. It provided the implementation. Who provided? Class provided, because class implementing that interface. So one first method, second method, third method. Why three methods? Sorry, first one, second one, as well as third method. Why third method? Three methods. Yes, interface contains three methods. So a class should provide implementation to the interface, means class should provide implementation for all abstract methods. Now in this case, how many abstract methods available? Means 1, 2, 3. So from Java 8 onwards, I said already, until Java 7, there is no there is no way we can write methods with logic. Okay, non-abstract methods. Generally, by default, whenever we are writing methods in a class, like from last 1.5 months, 2 months, whatever the methods we are writing, right? So now those are all, we can call it as non-abstract methods. Why? Opposite to the abstract functionality. Non-abstract methods. So that means methods with logic. Methods with logic or body, whatever it is. Concrete methods, simply we can call it as concrete methods. Concrete methods. So from Java 8 onwards, it is allowed, guys. From Java 8 onwards, it is allowed. But until Java 7, there is no way we can write non-abstract methods or methods with logic in the interface. The purpose of interface is always writing only 100% abstract methods. But from Java 8 onwards, they allowed somehow we can write non-abstract methods also. That means methods with body and logic, that we will call it as concrete methods. So that means, but those we will, they given as a some concept called as static and default methods. Static and default methods. This is a Java 8 feature. So that's why this will be called as Java 8 features in interfaces. They given a point of, you can define an interface called as static and default methods and interface. So those methods will be called as non-abstract methods. Why? Those methods will have the body. For example, I'm not teaching right now more about static and default. We will discuss very clearly once we are done with the basics of interfaces. So what is the difference between static and default methods and everything? Just I'm showing one small example. That's a get loan eligibility, something like that. I written here method. So see here, return you are eligible, something like that. Assume you return some lines of logic, some lines of logic you return. So now is having this method is having body. So at least if it is a one line, see if you are open the curly braces means it doesn't. So it means you are having the body. How many lines of logic you are having, it doesn't matter. You open curly braces means it's nothing but you provided the body. So in this case, yes, in interface also I am able to write a concrete method. Yes, this is allowed from Java 8 onwards, but still the main purpose of interface is all about writing the abstract methods. So what is the static method? Why they introduced from Java 8 onwards? Why not from Java 1 onwards? So what is the reason behind they are introducing default and static methods inside the interface? What is the difference between static and default? We will discuss all the details very clearly, don't worry. I'll take so one class it will take, then I will discuss. Now, what you have to understand from my overall discussion is an interface now in the current versions like Java 17, 21, 11, whatever it is, it will contain an interface is contains abstract methods as well as non-abstract methods. So abstract methods means which are having only signature. That means you define only method name and return type and parameters, but not logic. So then who has to provide logic for these three methods? The class which is implementing this interface. The class which is implementing this interface, those classes must and should provide implementation to these three methods. Okay, so that's why these three we are calling it as a abstract methods. Now remaining whatever we are writing static and non-static with body, sorry, static and default methods as part of Java 8 1 onwards as a Java 8 feature point of view. So those are all non-abstract methods. That means they are having the body. We cannot call it as abstract methods. We cannot call it as abstract methods. Okay. So this is, we will discuss very clearly. Now my next point here it is, when we define a method signature but not logic, that means those methods are called as concrete. Those are all not concrete methods, right? Methods without body or without logic. So that is the point of this one. Now in this case, generally, I said abstract is a keyword, right? When you define, let me take same interface. Yeah. So assume this is the interface I have. So these are all very important concepts, and people will ask more number of questions from this area only when you attended interviews more. Okay, so assume this is the interface, and then inside this you taken this one of the method for example, just example purpose I taken one or two methods, get loan type or whatever it is. Yeah, I'll take this one also. Okay, so see here, these are the two methods you taken as part of the interface. So we taken as part of the interface, right? So whatever the interface name is, loan information dot Java. So now I said one point very clearly. Whenever we define a method signature without logic in an interface, that will be called as by default as a abstract method. So that means, yeah, this is the word sentence I used, right? So what is the meaning of this one? Let's see here. Now here, if you are observing, I defined a method string get loan type. So the meaning of what is this? If any class is implementing this interface, they should provide implementation for this method, as well as that class should return a value of string always as part of this method implementation. That is what the return type you given. But the point here it is, I said by default a method is a abstract method. So in this case, what Java compiler will do is, because it's a .java file, right? Every .java file will be converted to .class file, compilation point of view. So whenever your Java class is, whenever .class file is getting generated for this interface, and it is a .java file. See, ultimately it is a .java file. That means it should convert it to .class file, because JVM can understand only bytecode, not regular our high level English language. So then what Java compiler will do in this case is, whenever it is compiling, so it will take this interface and then what I said, by default every method is a abstract method. So that means as a developer, even if you give an abstract keyword as part of this method, see here what I given. Today I introduced a keyword called as abstract keyword. Even if I given, I don't see any difference. Even if I am not given in another method level also, I am not seeing any difference. So that means that is the word you have, that is the sentence I given. By default, in an interface, by default, okay, for example, I can say like non-concrete method. By default, a non-concrete method in an interface is always abstract method. So that means what Java will do is, in this case, it will add the abstract keyword. It will add the abstract keyword. If you are, see, in this case, as a developer you given, then what compiler will do is, compiler will, in the byte class level, this method will be copied as it is, if you given. But whenever you are not given, what compiler is doing? Compiler is adding abstract keyword to that method. So now what is the difference you observe here? In this case, abstract is the keyword added by the compiler, if you are not given as a developer point of view. Now, for example, as a developer point of view, you give an abstract keyword. So you give an abstract keyword. Then if you given, no problem. So now assume in this case you are not given, that's why it is added. Now this method is also you created and you given abstract. Even though if you are given, even if you are not given, compiler will check. If you are not given, compiler will add. If you given, compiler will take that as it is. So now assume in your .java file you return this interface like this. Now what will happen in this case means, it will take, compiler will observe, okay, this method is having abstract keyword or not. Yes, having. So let's keep it up as it is. That's all. Now compiler will come to another method called as calculate EMI value. So now in this case, compiler will verify this guy added abstract keyword or not. So this guy added abstract keyword or not, it will verify. So if added by default as a developer, compiler will take it as it is. See, it should be always before the return type, guys. I'll give that rule also. So now what compiler will do? Compiler will feel like, okay, this guy doesn't add it. Let me make it as abstract method. So then compiler will add the abstract keyword in this case. So in this case, abstract keyword is added again. So how? Because as a developer, we are not given. So whether you given or not, it doesn't matter. But by default, by default interfaces inside the interfaces, whatever the non-concrete methods we define, those are all by default abstract methods. Those are all by default abstract methods. Okay, so this is point number one you have to remember. So the syntax for the abstract methods is so access specifier or access modifier, access specifier or modifier. So that means either public, private, something we will have, we will see that. But I mean make it as public. And then here you will use keyword called as abstract keyword. Now I'll ask you, we will discuss one more point also. Abstract and followed by the return type. So it should be always before the return type. Please remember a thumb rule, like I'll give you the thumb rule. So many people are confusing in this case also. Method name and then method parenthesis, and then maybe if that method is having zero or more arguments, you know all this terminal. So in this case, what we understand. So now tell me, whatever I written in a syntax point of view, is it a valid abstract method or not? Is it a valid abstract method or not? The question. So my answer is no. Why? So my answer is it's not a valid abstract method. Why? The point here it is, what abstract method is saying, abstract method, when you are using abstract means it doesn't have any body. It doesn't have any body. So those methods, if you try to do, if you are trying to give abstract keyword to a concrete method, then compiler will scold us. Compiler will give an error like, hey man, the meaning of abstract method is without body. That's when you created a method without body, then those you can define as abstract method. So abstract means you're representing like this method doesn't have any body. So someone else has to provide implementation like that. You are giving the abstract keyword. So that means, so now if I given here semicolon, yes, this is abstract method. So this is abstract method means yes, 100% is true. Why? You made abstract means you are not providing the logic here. You are just provided only method signature. Okay, this should return string value, integer value, student object like that. And method name and goes on the argument numbers. And what is the thumb rule you have to, I said shortcut point of view is, please remember it might be static method, it might be default method, it might be abstract method, it might be anything else in future. Return type and method name both should come side by side guys. Don't involve any other thing in between the return type and method name. So it's just like a thumb rule point of view you can remember. Don't involve any keyword. Never ever confuse like while you are writing the signatures, okay, before writing abstract after the return type, static after the return type, default after the return type, no. You should never ever, you should never ever, you should never ever separate these two sections. These two always side by side only. So whatever the concept it is, return type and method name is 100% is always side by side. Only whatever you define, whether it is a static, default, protected, non-protected, whatever it is. Going further, those things will come always before the return type only. Before the return type only. These rules is just remember it. Okay, now this is an abstract method. This is an abstract method. Now if you see here, when I am giving abstract, compiler is not saying anything. Even if I am not giving, compiler is not saying anything. That reason is the point here it is, what by default in Java, the non-concrete methods is always considering as a abstract method. So if a developer is provided, compiler will not do, compiler will take that keyword into dot class level. If developer is not provided, then compiler will consider abstract keyword and then that will be taking into the picture. So this is how those methods will be called as abstract methods. Okay, now my next point is, by default, I'll do this one. by default, a method in an interface is always public method. Public method. So what is the point of public also? Let's see, here it is. What is the point of public also? Let's see, here it is. Okay. So if you are observing here, I'll tell you. So what's happening? Let's see. So you don't know what is the meaning of private. Just very simple. We will understand later. Now I'm not talking about the abstract and non-abstract method. Sorry, this methods, non-abstract methods. But we can write in Java. That's what I said from Java 8 onwards. But the main purpose of interface is always about writing the non-implemented methods only, not this one. So that's why, yeah, let's concentrate on these methods only. Now, if you see here again, yeah, give me a moment. Okay. So assume this interface is having one more method also. I can add any number of methods inside an interface. That point we know that, right? So for example, I'm adding one more method, void print information of loan, something, whatever it is. So now if you observe here, I define one more abstract method. So one more abstract method inside the interface. But I did not give an even public also, or something like private. One more access modifier will be available, public, private, protected, like that. So simply just remember that word. So I did not give an public here. But in Java I said by default a method and interface is all. By default an abstract method, even I can use this word now. By default an abstract method in a, so first of all, if you are not given abstract keyword for a non-concrete method, then that is considering as an abstract method. Now continuation to that, by default an abstract method in an interface is always public method. So that means in this case what will happen, here it is, same approach. Now you as a developer you written means this is a valid signature in interface point of view, in interface point of view. Now when it comes to the same interface .java, and when it comes to compilation point of view, the .java to .class file point of view, or the Java rules and regulations, compilation rules and regulations point of view, what this method internally treating as a public as well as abstract method. So you written only this one, right? So, but internally when it comes to Java compiler point of view, the same method will be treated like this. So in this case, what Java will be treating as, so this is the method we written actual in the interface, right? So in this case, what Java will treat as in the .class file point of view or compilation point of view. Please guys, this is very, very, very important interfaces, because the entire Spring Boot, servlets, JDBC, whatever you are going to see from almost from today onwards or next day onwards, everything will involve, wherever you go, interfaces will be there. That much important this concept is. So please remember all these rules. Okay. So now we written this one. So that means internally what Java will understand is compiler. Okay, this developer did not given any access modifier before the return type, even no abstract also. So if you are not given abstract, abstract will be added by default. That is what we discussed right now. So yes, abstract will be added. Abstract will be added. Okay, fine. And then it will add public also. If you are not given anything, then it will add public. Now you can ask one question. So okay, if you are not given, then it is taking public into consideration. If I am providing by default public also, then Java is considering public into consideration, like this. Here I given public, so that it is also taken public. Now in case in the interface level, apart from public, can I give private or not? See here what it is saying. So private is a keyword, we will see later simply. Now what it is saying, in case apart from private you given any other modifier, private or protected, what's happening in this case is, understand the error. So what it is saying, the method, this method requires a body instead of a semicolon. So what it is trying to say is, if you want to provide access specifier of private something else other than public, then provide the implementation like this. Then provide the implementation like this. That is what it is saying. But our point of view, we are discussing completely about abstract methods and non-concrete method point of view. So whenever you define an abstract method, that return type should be always public. So that is what the point here it is. So now if I am making public, no problem. Even if you are not given anything also, no problem. That means in this case, compiler will consider always this one as a public only. But apart from public, as a developer, can we give anything else? No. You can give either public or you can ignore it. But internally, Java will consider this line as, finally, this line will be converted as internally, this line by default considering as public and abstract. So that means in a developer point of view, maybe, in our real time applications, we will use interfaces always. What we will do now every day, whenever we want to create a method inside the interface, like abstract method, we will not use public and abstract keyword as part of our interfaces. As a developer, lazy developer point of view, we will not use it. Some developers will feel like, okay, let me give look and feel good. Like that, few developers will add these two keywords also. Like if you are taking my case, I'm just telling, it's all your choice as a developer point of view. So I will feel like, and why I unnecessarily I have to write these two words, because by default Java is compiler is taking these two words. Write only return type and method name. That's all. Before those two things and all, already Java compiler is taking care. Even if you are not giving, Java compiler is adding. But if you are giving, then Java compiler is also taking same thing. So that means some people will not write, some people will write these two. But both are okay with respect to compilation point of view same. With respect to compilation point of view same. So these are the details you have to remember as part of the interface non-abstract methods level. Non-abstract methods level. So now let's see here. If I have a class called as interface A. So no abstract methods, nothing. It's just empty interface. It's a valid interface means yes. It's a valid interface, guys. So you just try on your own. My next point is, without, you can write empty class, right? Without any variables, without any methods point of view, same point of view here also. Now I have one more interface B. So if I return integer m1 string m2, yes. So it's a valid interface means 100% yes. Why? You cannot say we are not given public and abstract. So it doesn't matter whether you given or not for the non-concrete methods. When you ended with semicolon, it will expect always return type and method name and parameters. What your method signature point of it will expect only return type and method name and the number of parameters what that method has to take care. That is what it will expect, but it will not expect by default public and abstract keyword. So in such case, what compiler will do? Compiler will take care. Compiler will consider these two are public and abstract methods only. So these two are public and abstract methods. So that is what overall point we discussed as of now. public and abstract methods. So those are all details we discussed as of now. Here it is. So abstract is a keyword. So we will use same keyword, same concept again in the abstract classes also. So we will discuss again one more time abstract methods there also. Okay. So this is all okay. Now let's take few other details also. Now next point is okay. Now somewhat we got a overview or we got some confidence or some details about the interface, how to define the implement, how internally these methods, what is the purpose and all. We got a overview of an interface. Here it is. So I'll take this separately once we are done completely with the interfaces point of view. Okay, I'll keep as it is. I'll take a new class, new interface. I'll leave these methods as it is. Now let's define one more new interface and then I will discuss few other points also. Okay, let me define first interface. So I'm defining user service, user management service, something like that. This is a real-time technology, guys. I mean, something like user management means adding the users, deleting the users, sign up user, login user point of view. Finish it. I'll do one thing. Interfaces dot user management, something like that. Okay. So now I created one interface called as user management service. So here I'm defining method number one like string user sign up. User sign up. User sign up. So I said already an interface point of view generally we will not do implementation and I'll just make sure like this. And as part of this method, I'm expecting whenever they are providing the user sign up, string name, string, I'll take like this simply email ID, string name, string password. So just by using by using these three details, we are making the user sign up operation. So that is what my expectation. So they should enter their email ID, their name, their password so that we can create their account, user sign up. Now similarly, one more method I will define called as, and then it should return their user sign up is completed successfully or not like that. Now similarly, I am writing user sign in. User sign in point of view, I want only email ID and password. So like that. See, I'm just defining the prototypes. What classes has to be implemented 100%. So now I'm giving public and abstract means by default public and abstract only. Okay, cool. That points we know now. So I defined two methods here. Like that you can provide n number of methods based on the things. Or if they want to reset the password, whatever it is. So you will see that, right? So string reset password and then string old password. Simply I can call it as change password. New password, something like that. So these are all methods I defined as part of this interface. Okay, fine. Now my next point here it is. Point number one. How many classes from, or else I can do write like this. For an interface, that means single interface, how many classes are from an interface? How many classes can we implement? Can we implement? So what is the point here? It is I have one interface. So that whatever it is, interface. Now from this interface, how many classes I can define? So I have interface, and then from this interface, how many classes I can implement? Yes, more than one. More than one. So here class some one whatever it is. Similarly, you can define more than one class. So by using one interface, you can define more than one class, guys. So class 2 like that, etc, etc, etc. So you can define any number of classes from single interface. Single interface. But only thing is what in this case, the rule is all classes individually should provide implementation for all abstract methods. So all classes should provide implementation to all abstract methods of interface. Abstract methods of interface. That is the only rule you have to prove. So any class can provide implementation to interface, n number of classes. But only thing is, now assume this interface is having three abstract methods. Three abstract methods. So then definitely every class should provide implementation for all these three abstract methods. So all three should provide implementation. Must and should. After that, the class want any extra methods, its own methods and all, it's up to their choice. Then own methods. Then own methods. If that class wants any extra methods and all. But the rule is here, class must and should provide the interface implementation, right? Okay, so see here, whether it is true or not, let's see. So the answer is any number of classes. It's not like only one interface for one class. No. So let's say first one class called as Gmail users. I'm taking main method also here. Now see here, I'm implementing implements what? The user management service. So implements represents implementing an interface always. These details we saw that. Now what compile time error is saying, see here, compile time error is verifying how many abstract methods available inside the interface called as user management service. Total 3 abstract methods available. So in this case, you have total 3 methods, 3 abstract methods. So that's why compiler is saying, hey man, this interface is having 3 abstract methods, provide implementation for every method. So how to do that? Just take the syntaxes and provide the implementation. Remove the semicolon and then provide the implementation. So return like whatever you want to do it. Okay, give it as public always. In the class level, it's mandatory to give either public or whatever point of view it is, public give it. Now, what? So you will write some logic. You will take data, whoever is calling, and then you will insert data to database after some point of time when you know the database operations and all. You will do all these things. You will take this information, you will verify this email ID is existed already or not, because sign up, right? So you will verify first of all email ID existed or not in the database. If existed, then you will not create the account. No account creation. Simply you will say like email already existed, email already existed, try with new email ID, something like that. These are all behaviors we will see everywhere, right? Try with new email ID. Generally, when you try to create a Gmail account one more time with email ID what you already have, then it will say like email already existed. So if not existed, then you will say like, okay, this is a fresh email. Then let's go for the process of next step like account creation. Then you will create the account and then you will say like your account is created successfully. If existed, then you will return like account is already existed. Please try with some email, something like that. So this is all logic you will provide here. It is. But you provided as of now only one abstract method out of three. Still you have two more. That's what compiler is saying. Okay, you provided only one. Then what about other two? So then go to here and you can take this from here and then provide implementation for the second method also. Okay, I'll do one thing here. Sys out of creating an account for name yeah. Just a simple statement. Now similarly, what this is sign up operation. So let's make this one also in the class level, make it as a public, and then why it is return should be some string value, it has to return always. So based on that, now same way you will apply some logic sign in point of view also. Doing login for an account, email ID, something like you will verify email ID and password combination existed or not in the DB. If existed, then you will say login success and you will show the immediately some information. You will give all the profile information. What is his first name, last name, is display pictures and everything. You will send back to the front end level. When if combination is existed, if not existed, invalid credentials. So you will write all this logic and then in this case you will not do any insert operation, simply like that. So for example, assume login is success, then simply will select welcome to Gmail, find mails in inbox, something like that. I'm just taking that. So in a successful one. Now two second method also implemented. Total three but two. Still third one is there. That's why it is saying like provide implementation this one also. So this is how you are making the contract between a class and an interface, guys. Now until and unless this class is not providing implementation for all three methods mandatorily, that class is never ever compiled. So that is how you are making a class should. And one more thing is you are maintaining the uniqueness in the method names also from one class to another class based on this interface. Now see here in Eclipse point of view, you can use this option, add unimplemented methods. In a single shot, it will add everything, okay, with empty body, but don't use that right now. You can use after some point of time. Meanwhile, what you can do, if you have time, type it, at least take copy paste instead of using Eclipse option. Now see here, third method, and then I will make this one also as a public, and then return type. So here password changed successfully. Something like that. Okay, password changes, whatever it is, just logic you will apply. So you can take email ID also if you want. So you can take here. See, now I added one more property in the interface. Now automatically again compile class level also it is showing an error. What is that error means? See here. In the interface user management service level, total three variables are there, string, comma, string, comma, string, but you provided only two. So that means when in future when you make changes in the interface level, signature level, those changes should applicable at every class implementation also. Now I said like okay, string email it. Third one also I made it. Sys out of changing password for email ID like that. So you take. So this is how you will provide an implementation. So now how many methods? Method number one, method number two, method number three. So after that, it's up to your choice. If you are having any extra methods, own methods as part of this class and a regular class point of view, you can add whatever you want. Public, void, contact, information, something like that. So sys out of need help, please drop an email in help at the rate gmail.com, something like that. So what you can write your own n number of methods again, but the must and should rule is three providing implementation for three methods if of an interface. If it is having n methods, then n methods. If it is having five methods, zero methods, one method. After that, it's up to your choice what you are doing. So now this class is fully implemented based on the interface point of view. Let's create object for this class equal to gmail dot create, I think user sign up. Yeah, sign up. Then I am providing some values I am passing here. Dilip at the rate gmail.com. And second one is my name is Dilip Singh, something like that. Third one is password. So I'm giving Dilip 111. So yes. So with this, what will happen? Now it's all common story again. So what you have to understand until this is until and unless you are not providing implementation for those three methods, you will get the compiled error. My next point again, for example, in the class point of view, I decided like, okay, in the user sign in or in the user sign up point of view, I want to add one more property called as something like char gender. Now, see here what happened. Again, compile time error is coming. What compile time error is saying is user management service interface is having three abstract methods. You provided only for two. Please provide one more for three also. So that means what is the point? This signature is matching with this signature. This signature is matching like three string parameters with method name and all matching with this. But actually user sign up is having string comma string comma string three parameters. But in this case, you made how many string, fourth one char also. So that means now in this case, it is considering as a own method of the class, but not in the contract from the interface point of view. So see here what it is saying. User sign up is not yet implemented. The reason is what? You added one more parameter. You felt like, okay, I covered based on the interface and I will do something on my own at signature level. No, it will not allow. So if you are not doing that, then what? In this case, this method is a valid method, but considering as own method. So own method means just defined based on its own rules and regulations point of view, but not in the contract of interface point of view because you added one more. So if you remove that, see the fourth parameter again the error is gone. So now that means you made the contract fulfilled based on the interface. You provided one method, two method, three method in implementation. So this is how interfaces will do that. Now our point is what? how many classes can we implement? Any number of classes. So yes, I already taken one class, right? So let me take one more class also. Instagram user, something like that. And then see second class, extends or implements. Implements. Extends means inheritance. Implements. What is that interface? User management service. Now immediately what compiler is saying? Again same story. What compiler is trying to say is provide the implementation for user sign up, provide the implementation for user sign in, provide the implementation for change method, like that. Until you are providing three methods implementation in this class, it will keep on showing you the error. Now the same approach you can go here, copy paste whatever you want to do it, or else if you want to use benefit of Eclipse, you can keep error. Then Eclipse is saying, do you want me to add those unimplemented methods? Means if you are clicking on that, then see automatically Eclipse is helping you. Okay, so this at the rate override annotation, leave it. So that's why I said you don't use Eclipse option like add unimplemented methods. The disadvantage of that one is your learning will go away. So simply it is adding all methods with empty body. So that point here, the meaning of it is you can add your own logic, what is the return and all. It's just given skeleton for those three methods. But that's what Eclipse is helping us. But don't use Eclipse option when you are in the learning stage. Once you are getting all knowledge, confidence and everything, then you can go for that automated options and all. So until that point of view, whatever I said, like go there, copy paste. If possible, try, or else at least do the copy paste point of view. Then you will have a overview like, okay, you're making implementation for those so and so interface for so and so method, like that you will have a overview. Okay, so now again same story here. Okay, I'm not writing all the logic. Sign up success, assume you are having logic again here, db logic, whatever it is. Similarly, verifying email id password combination existed or not, that password or invalid password, all these things. So sign in success, and then change password point of view also success, like that. So now you can call all, you can create a object for this class, and you can call all these methods by passing values to these variables and all you can call. So what is the point you have to understand here? It is how many classes you implemented as of now? 2. Similarly 3, 4, 5, 6 also. So what I am doing, I am copy pasting Facebook user, something like that. See, I just copy pasted the class. If you observe here, public class Facebook users implements user service. So that means total 3 classes now. So that's what we said, n number of classes. So that is point number 1. Okay, second point. Interfaces. Sorry. I'll take point like this. So very important point. Let's take like this. Now, a class can implement, like, or else I'll write like this. How many interfaces, how many interfaces can we implement by using a class? So what is the point here? It is how many interfaces can we implement by using a single class? So as of now, what we did, class implemented single interface. At a time, you are implementing single interface. So that is the question here. It is how many interfaces can we implement by using a class? By using a class at a time. At a time, how many interfaces I can implement? So what is the answer? Let's see, here it is. So that means my point, diagram point of view. So I have interface A, interface B. So A is an interface. Okay, B is also an interface. So I'm not writing shortcuts point of view. I representing interface like that. Now I have a class called as C. So now with respect to C class or XYZ class, whatever it is. So it's a class. Now in this case, this class is implementing one interface. There is no problem. That is what we discussed from last. I mean, right now we are done those examples. Until one interface, there is no question. There is no point. Implements. Now that the next question is what? How many interfaces can we implement at a time? So that nothing but public class XYZ implements implements. So A. So this is what we did. Now more than one is possible or not. At a time providing implementation for more than one interface is possible means yes, possible. So that means how to do that? You will represent simply A comma B. If you have one more interface also, then comma C, comma D. Like that, you will define one interface after another by separating the comma. So that means yes, a class can implement more than one interface at a time. A class can implement more than one interface at a time. But what is the role? What is the points you have to remember in this case? So here, yes, it's a valid. It's a valid one. So that means yes. How many interfaces can we implement by using a class at a time means more than one. Simply more than one. So that means public class and then followed by class name implements. So and then followed by interface 1 comma interface 2 like that, etc. You can provide multiple. So when you are inheriting, are you able to do this, guys? How many classes can be inherited at a time? Only one you can do. So that is where people will confuse again. In interviews, generally people will confuse. If I am asking this question, they will say like only one interface by imagining the interface concept. Sorry, inheritance concept. Like in inheritance, I said one point. Multiple inheritance is not possible. Like extends, the keyword is more important. And I said here class one. This is valid until one class you can extend, but not more than that. Class 2. So that means it's an invalid it is not allowed. But the difference what you have to understand here it is it's an implementation of interfaces. But this is extending of already existed previous classes. Inheritance topic. This is interface topic. So this is invalid more than one class. But here it's a valid, allowed. So even still people will confuse with this one also. Inheritance in between classes. So this keyword is more important and this terminology point of view also. Okay, so this is allowed. But what one thing you have to understand here it is. For example, A is having two abstract methods and B is having three abstract methods. So B is having three abstract methods. Then what XYZ has to do is when it is extending A comma B means it should provide implementation of A abstract methods and B abstract methods. That is mandatory. A abstract methods and B abstract methods it has to provide. So that means total how many methods it has to provide means 2 from the A and plus 3 other methods from the B. So it has to provide. So that is what you have to do. So you can extend more than one, sorry, implement, but only thing is you have to cover all the interfaces abstract methods as part of implementation. As part of the implementation. If not provided, then what will happen? So there is a concept available. I'll introduce that later. For time being, remember like you have to provide. Okay, there is a concept like if you don't want to provide one or two methods implementation, then you have to make your class as an abstract class. So what is abstract class? We will discuss maybe tomorrow only. I'll start tomorrow. So that's what I said. There is a relationship between interfaces, abstract classes, and by using these two things only, we are achieving the abstraction. Second principle of abstraction, I mean, OOPS principles, abstraction. So consolidating all this information only give you more knowledge in the OOPS principles. So this is how you can do that. Whether you want to prove it or not, let's see here. I'll prove that one also. New interface. I'll change the packages. Just testing we are doing. I'm not taking much information again here. So I'm taking interface 1. Functionality I'm not taking much about here. Okay, so this is interface 1, right? So I'll write public. You can write public also, no problem. Void method 1. Public string method 2. Something like that. Two methods I have in this case. Interface 1. Now similarly, I'll create one more interface. Interface 2. So this is interface 2. So I'll write method 3, method 4, something like that. Method 3, it is taking some string name, whatever it is. Method 4, something like integer, some age, whatever it is, just random thing I'm taking. Okay, now total two interfaces I have. Now let me create a class. At a time it is implementing both interfaces. Okay, so I'll take some class called as class 1, and then as of now no implementation, right? So let's see here, no implementation, no errors. Now I'm implementing interface 1. Yes, this is what we completed. One class implementing one another interface. That's possible. And add unimplemented methods. What happened? It added method 1, method 2. So that means you are providing implementation for method 1 as well as method 2. That's cool. That is what we understood. But our question is, can we implement more than one interface or not? Yes. Interface 2. So see here, interface 1, interface 2. Now compiler is saying, okay man, you are good with interface 1, you provided 2, then what about the interface 2? If you are providing implementation to those also, I'm good. So now see here, what happened? Total 4 methods. 2, 2. 2 from 1, 2 from 2, interface 2. So save it, your error is gone. So compile time errors are gone. So that means you can provide at a time more than one interface. But only thing is, you have to make sure providing implementation for everything. So the rule is providing implementation for all abstract methods of all interfaces in the class. That is what you have to make sure. You can add third class also, but if it is having any abstract methods, then also you have to add it. Okay, so this is all just one more rule you have to remember. Point number 2 and point number 3. Yeah, so I'll just say this, but I'll discuss probably tomorrow. But for example, if class don't want to provide an implementation for an abstract method of interface. So what is the point here? It is if class don't want to provide an implementation for an abstract method of an interface, then what's happening by default? You are getting compiled error. Like until and unless you are providing implementation for all the abstract methods, you are getting the compiled error. For example, interface is having three methods. Okay, now class provided implementation for two only. Implementation for two methods only, or one, whatever it is. Now in this case, what until this you are getting compile time error. Like it is asking compiler like, hey man, provide third method also, like that. But my point here it is, even I don't want to provide implementation for third method. I don't have logic or maybe some reason, some requirement point of view. I provided only two methods implemented and third one is still pending. So because one method is still pending, one method is still pending. So still I don't want to provide it. Then I want to avoid that compiled error. What you have to do. So there is a concept available, abstract class. Then mark class as abstract class. But there is a story about abstract class. There are so many rules, so many points available about the abstract class. I'll discuss this tomorrow. Continuation to this. Okay. So only thing is this point we will cover. As of now, we are covering like all methods should be implemented point of view. In case one or two methods not implemented by the class, then you can mark that class as an abstract class. But what is abstract class? What is the functionality? What is the reason behind abstract classes? At what scenarios we will make the abstract classes and all we'll discuss slowly. Leave it. So that means it's a to be discussed item. More discuss, more discuss required. So tomorrow will come. Now my next point. An interface. So a class will contain variables, right? Similarly, an interface can contain variables or not. An interface can contain variables or not. An interface can contain variables or not. So as of now, I said only methods, right? So like we defined interfaces and we are talking about only methods. Now my point here it is, can I define variables inside the interfaces or not? Variables or not? Yes, we can define. We can define. So what are the rules and regulations again for that we have to discuss. So my answer is yes, we can define. But what is the scenarios around it and what has to be done and all? So I'll discuss. To be discussed. So here you have a concept. By default, if you declare a variable inside an interface, that is a static and final variable. Like for example, if I return string name equal to, so this is I define. So that means you are not getting compile time error means Java is allowing to create a variable. But whenever you define a variable inside an interface, by default variable is static and final. Static and final. So you know what is the meaning of static, but you don't know what is the meaning of final. So that's why I said to be discussed, but we can define. So these details, everything will be covered. So for this, you need to remember, you need to know one more concept called as final variable. So that means to be discussed item is final variable. Final keyword, not sorry, variable. Final keyword. So by using final keyword, you will write final variables, final methods, final classes. Similarly, abstract keyword, abstract methods, abstract classes. So that's what I'm telling you. You are having a lot of new terminology, new complexity in the object oriented programming principles. So that is where students are struggling a lot when they are learning the Java. Until arrays, control statements, looping statements, everybody is saying like we got the knowledge of Java. But once they are moving to the object oriented programming principles, because of these new things, see every half an hour one new thing is coming into the picture in a different point of view. First I said inheritance, extends keyword, and then inside that multi-level inheritance, multiple inheritance, multiple is not supported, multi-level is supported. Why multiple is not supported? Ambiguity. After that I said inter abstraction. Abstraction can be achieved in interfaces and abstract classes. In interfaces again I am saying like abstract methods, and when it comes to class everything should provide. So these are all so much complexity is improving with respect to object oriented programming principles. And see now I'm telling like if you don't want to provide one method then you have to make that class as abstract class. So that means we have to discuss what is abstract class again. So we can define abstract methods as well as abstract classes also. So that we have to discuss. Now I said we can define variables also. But whenever you define a variable, by default it is a static and final. So what is the meaning of final? You don't know. So that means we have to discuss a keyword called as final keyword. By using final keyword, we can define final variables like final methods, final classes also. So that means similarly when you are using abstract keyword also, abstract methods you can define and as well as abstract classes you can define. So this we will take slowly step by step process. Okay, so simply you can remember this rule. We can define the variables, but it will become as a final variable. But what is a final variable and all we will discuss. We will discuss these are all details step by step point. Okay, so next, so continuation to interfaces only. Can we do inheritance with interfaces or not? I'll discuss this information tomorrow. I mean, in the next session. But I'll just give you overview and we will leave it and we will discuss in the next session. Interfaces with inheritances. Yes. So here inheritance with interfaces, guys. Like earlier you taken class. So if it is classes wise, what you did, you have a class A and then you are taking one more class B. Then your extends class A. Then what will happen? You know that you are getting accessibility of A methods or A properties into B level. That is all inheritance point of in a class point of view. Now what I'm saying with respect to interfaces point of view. So interfaces point of view. Yes, we can do yes. Interfaces are having inheritance concept. So like interface A and then interface B extends A. So what happens here it is interface A, interface B extends A. Inheritance you are doing this time. So assume here I'll just give you a small overview and I will not discuss much again into what is extents and all because you know that story. So I'll discuss these details tomorrow. Just I'll give you a overview and we'll discuss all the things tomorrow. Our point is inheritance with interfaces. Okay, so here just what we discussed right now is we'll discuss all these things tomorrow. So it called as single level inheritance. You know that point also, right? Examples, I'll take real examples tomorrow. Okay. So now in this case, what you observed, you are making single level inheritance. Interface 1 and interface 2, right? So that means you are extending A. So it's called a single level inheritance. You know that point. Okay. So assume here you have three abstract methods. Three abstract methods. Now B is having its own two abstract methods. Two abstract methods. So now if a class came into the picture called as C, class C came into the picture, and what it is doing implements B. It is doing this one. Now in this case, how many classes, sorry, how many methods C should implement? So in this case, how many? So what it is doing in this case, it's not extends, it's implements this time. Implements B. So now in this case, how many methods C should implement? So in a hierarchy point of view, interfaces, both interfaces are in the format of single level inheritance. So as part of our inheritance point of view, what we discussed with respect to A interface, it is three methods. But with respect to B point of view, its own methods, two methods plus parent methods. Parent, that means A. That means total three methods. I mean, parent methods is three methods. So that means total equal to five methods. Right? So now in the point in this case, B interface is having total five abstract methods. Total five abstract methods B is having now. So now with respect to C, how many means? Five methods you have to do. You have to implement five abstract methods. Five abstract methods. C should provide the implementation. So now C class is responsible to provide implementation for five abstract methods, not two. Because B is having a parent. Now it's responsibility of C class providing implementation to this one also. So this level is single level inheritance in between the interfaces. But when it comes to the class implementing the child, then that class is should responsible for providing implementation for child methods as well as the child's parents methods also. So A methods and B methods, overall five abstract methods, it has to provide the implementation. So this is how in an interface, in between interfaces, you can achieve the inheritance. Like tomorrow we will see same point of view, single level we are completed. I mean, we will take one example also, but we'll cover with example single level, multi-level, multiple, multi-level hierarchy inheritance, everything we will cover in tomorrow session. Okay, so I'll not take again what is extends and all these things, these stories and all we know. Simply I'll take the diagram point of view and explanation point of view, and we quickly will create an examples. So this point you have to remember very clearly. Child, when class is implementing, if you are remembering in this format and when you are practicing old concepts like inheritance point of view, then today it's nothing, guys. You understood the point like that. So it's all about requires revision of your old knowledge. So if you are making all these things, then things will become very easy. And please do hard work. I'm telling you one more time also, because So many new things are coming. We can't avoid those new things to make course simplified so that you will feel happy. No, we cannot avoid. If you are avoiding it, then nothing. You will not have any knowledge. You will have only high level knowledge, and that will never ever give you a job.